Again, thanks to my friends at EA Games Australia and Codemasters, I'm again taking a look at Formula 1 22 before it releases in a couple of weeks' time. Previously, if you looked at my other videos, you can see my initial reactions to the Miami circuit, to VR and racing around Silverstone, but now there's more added to the preview build and it's time to get a quick look at the F1 Live section of the game and Supercars. Before I get into any of this video isn't a review and this game is still a work in progress. There are some cars, some lighting and some performances that, aren't final obviously if you can't tell with the giant work in progress at the top of the screen. Now these are also, again, just my initial thoughts, ideas and hopes for what we could get when the game releases or post-release content. Alright, so F1 22 is still, yes, a Formula 1 racing game.
No shit.
And the racing is still a load of fun. From the last Let's Play video and from playing this new preview build, racing is fun and it feels different to last year's game. I also did some more VR racing and it is a damn blast. The car models have also been updated in this version of the game too, and the McLarens now look the part and geez man, they look great. I got to take a look at this year's version of the career mode and it's got some more commentary from the Sky Sports team and it's got more Will Buxton, but the game has some in-game music too. And I don't just mean random atmospheric music, but the music is, well, real music. Now, being an EA Sports title, it's modern music that I just simply don't understand.
I was open-minded, all right, put it on. 90 seconds later, I'm like this old man. This isn't music!
But it is kind of cool, and it's a nice addition to the game as well. The F1 Life is a new addition or entry into the series, if you will, and from what it appears to be so far, at least what I can tell in the preview build, is that it changes the layout of the main menu. Rather than last year's or all the previous entries just having a bit of a stale menu, this entry's menu appears to be somewhat interactive. You can customize your virtual racer's home, which then changes the way your menu looks, which then you can customize to whatever the hell you want, really. From this, you can customize your driver in both their standard race suit and customizing their helmet, but also what they're wearing outside of racing, where you can see your virtual driver sitting in the menu with your virtual friends. There's hats, there's shirts, there's pants, there's shoes, of course there's sunnies, and yeah, you can equip it, and then of course it changes what you look like. You can customize nearly everything about your driver's house too, from furniture to floors to walls to lights, even having trophies on display as well.
This is where I'd put a trophy. If I had one! Sorry.
One of the final things you can do, and well, when it comes to the menu setup that is for F1 Life, is have supercars on display around your house. Now, being an F1 driver, you've obviously got a lot of money, and you can just have an Aston Martin sitting in your living room, as you do. There are a variety of real-life brands that you can customize with your virtual driver too, from Sparco to Beats to the best sock company in the world, Stance. So far too in this preview you can unlock clothing in the Podium Pass. And the customization is a nice addition and hopefully this transfers over into more areas into F1, say like more customization for race helmets. Now speaking of helmets, the driver customization is the same as Formula 1 2021, but it's now easier to save and keep colours uniform with the ability to save colour. So rather than writing down your helmet's colour palette and then transferring it to your race suit, you can simply save them and then bingo, done. There are also some new paint options too when it comes to F1 liveries, so you can customize your car's paint style from say matte black to metallic for example, and give a bit more creativity when it comes to making your own color palette or livery for your car. But it's time to talk about the Supercars, and so far from this preview build, the Supercars are sort of feel like a bit like a side gameplay mode. It's a bit like say Run Rat-a-Tat-a Run and say Pokemon Stadium. Like you play Pokemon Stadium to battle Pokemon in stadiums. But then there are side modes that provide something a bit different, and again, this isn't a review, it's just impressions, but that's what it sort of felt like, but that's not a problem with it. You can do time trials and drift challenges and some small rival races and even just put time lapse around circuits. Now obviously, you're not driving a Formula 1 car, so a supercar feels completely different, and what they both have in common is that they're both in this game and they're team cars really. What do I mean by that? Well, the manufacturers available for the supercars are obviously Mercedes, because there's a Mercedes team, Aston Martin, Ferrari, and McLaren, because there's an Aston Martin, a Ferrari, and a McLaren team. Sadly though, you can't drive around in a giant Red Bull can. Each car sounds different and obviously handles differently too, especially compared to driving a Formula 1 car. Going around some of the corners in F1 that are normally drop down to say third gear and then ride the curb I couldn't do that here in a supercar, and when I tried it out, obviously been driving a Formula 1 car and decided to give the supercars a crack, it was complete night and day difference with the cars. But the F1 cars in general, I kicked up my career mode and of course I picked a McLaren and I had a damn blast. The practice laps with the minigame challenges are still great, and unlike last year's entry in this series, which was pretty easy to pick up and play compared to say Formula 1 2020, F1 22 feels like I need to relearn the game over again on how to drive a Formula 1 car. Cars this year handle differently to cars last year. I couldn't just hammer on the brakes and go wide on a corner and just power straight out of it like I could last year. I needed to attack the track differently and change my race style to adjust to the cars. Again though, this is just a preview, and from what I've played so far, I am looking forward to F1 22 when it releases. Last year's F1 2021 was a blast, and doing a Twitch stream Drivers Championship with new cars and new regulations will be a load of fun. F1 22 releases June 28th for the Champions Edition and July 1st for the Standard Edition. If you want to see more of F1 22, be sure to stay tuned, but until then, remember to play with each other and play with yourself.